Hey everyone, how are you doing this evening, afternoon, morning? Don't know where you are. I am Makeda Valletta, and I'm live on my page, Makeda Valletta Travels. I wanted to record this on my other page, the Renaissance Amazon, but I have a 30-day block on that page. I just got over a 30-day block, now I have another one because I be arguing with people. But I wanted to do that video on that page. So if you don't follow that page, be sure to follow me there as well. That page I talk more about social issues and the arts and, my opinions on certain things. And so I just wanted to talk about some stuff that's on my mind as it pertains to this 50-year anniversary of hip hop, as I walk through Upper Manhattan, uptown New York City, right across from the Bronx, the birthplace of hip hop. And I've been hearing a lot of people from other cities. I see that Willie D made a comment that he felt like New Yorkers or New York was making the events too focused on New York rappers. I saw Luke said the same thing. Now, I feel like that's incredibly annoying, and I feel like people love to hate on New York, right? A lot of people have a chip on their shoulder when it comes to New York, and it's outright disrespectful, right? There are rappers like, as much as Kanye West gets on my nerves, okay? With everybody, there are things that I may agree with and things I don't agree with. But in Kanye's documentary, it was great to see him come to New York, okay? Like a lot of people do. They come to New York with dreams. But they say if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. They say that. And they say it for a reason. Because the competition in New York, the competition and standards are set high here. The bar is set high. We don't, if in New York, if people don't think your shit's hot, they don't think it's hot. They're not going to co-sign some shit just because you're from their borough, just because you're from their city, their block, their hood. And if you're not from New York, or you're not from our city, our borough, our hood, but you're dope as fuck, we'll say that, okay? Let's not forget that the Apollo is in Harlem. What did we see in Showtime at the Apollo? People get booed, right? If they don't feel like you're good enough. That is New York energy, right? So you have to give respect to where it's due, right? Being the fact that New York created hip hop, right? So you got so a lot of you may or may not know. Actually, I can flip this camera around because right now I'm on the intersection of, this is where Harlem ends, Washington Heights begins, and the Bronx, the South Bronx, is right over this bridge where we have Yankee Stadium and everything right over here. So literally, this is like an intersection of the South Bronx, Harlem, and Washington Heights. Okay, right over here. So I'm walking because there's all these parks, and I'm taking these hills, and I'm taking a walk. Hold on. So, there's so many things I want to say. So some of you who follow me know I'm a dancer, and I study black dance in the diaspora. And one thing I really love is bounce culture in New Orleans. New Orleans second line. New Orleans has a very unique culture that is very different than the rest of America. But the more I travel, like I'm from New York, but I live in Chicago. Chicago has dances and music styles that are unique to Chicago, right? And so you can say that about many cities. DC got go-go, right? So New Orleans second line music is off the chain. They came from there. So if bands in Philly and Texas and Ohio, in New York, in California, and anywhere but New Orleans wanted to start making second line music, people from New Orleans are going to judge it, right? Because they're the ones that invented it. Hold on, let me flip the camera around so you can see. This is a park called Jackie Robinson Park. Okay? And I always talk about how New York parks have levels to them. This is one thing I love. You see this park? Like, you see the depth of it? Down there, oh, look at the garbage. That's so bad. The hood rats live down there. That's the polo grounds and the Rucker basketball tournament is down there on the bottom of the hill. But anyhow, I know that sounds messed up, but it's true. So you see all this greenery in this park as I walk down here. You see how dense it is? Okay, this is what I'm saying when I say that New York parks have levels. You see me walking down the stairs, right? Now I could have kept walking up on that block, which is what I intended on doing. But I said, no, let me walk down these stairs, right? And you see how dense, like a forest. And it's probably not that great because I'm on IG Live and the videos are always kind of blurry. But you see how dense this greenery is? You see how there's levels? Okay? So I just walked right off the street, right off the busy street into this natural oasis. You see the rock formations in this park? All the parks in New York have rocks in them. They all have rock formations, which is very much a New York State thing, which I realized when I started driving upstate. We have these amazing rock formations. But every park in New York is like that. And Upper Manhattan, Harlem, Washington Heights, the Bronx has more parks than Brooklyn and Queens, okay? And very hilly. I don't know if you can see how that goes down, okay? You could just throw a body down there, okay? Now, so I'll continue to walk through here. This is called Jackie Robinson Park. And at the bottom of it, I'm actually walking to Starbucks. At the bottom of it is, so green. I love it. See, people always be trying to say, New York don't got no trees. There's a lot of trees in New York. Okay? A lot of places to go hiking and shit in the city. I'm still walking downstairs, okay? All right. So as I continue to walk, and I just want you to see this a bit. But if I had stayed up there, there's people sitting on benches up there listening to music. Dope. Okay? And then down there, there's like basketball courts and stuff. So I was trying to stay in the sun. So I didn't intend on coming down here because now I'm not in the sun. So I was trying to get the last bit of sun for the day. But anyhow, second line comes from New Orleans. And if, it's so beautiful down here. Hold on. Let me flip. See? You see how it goes down? Is that a rat? Oh, hell fucking no. There's a rat. Oh, no. Oh, no. You know what? I'm not going to keep walking to this park. Let me just, wait a minute. How do I get out? Do I have to walk to, okay, I'll keep walking since I'm in here. But the rat problem in New York has gotten so bad since COVID. Like, we always had a rat problem, but now, like, last night I was in Central Park, and there were rats running back and forth everywhere. There was like 50 of them at once. I was like, oh my God. And people in New York just don't, I don't know. Anyhow, but you see this big rock wall, right? And the rats used to only come out at night. Now they're out in the daytime. But anyhow, so since New Orleans, second line music comes from New Orleans. So every other city started doing it. People from New Orleans would judge it. Like, because second line music, there's the way they dance to it. And if you're not from New Orleans, you can't dance like them. Like, you could be from another city and love second line, but you're not going to kill the beat and dance on the beat like somebody from New Orleans, right? So if all these other cities start doing it, of course New Orleans people, some people might do some shit that New Orleans people don't like. Now, like, we don't really like that. And so that's normal, right? So with New York, with hip hop, you have all these rappers who have like a chip on their shoulder because in the beginning, whether it's like West Coast or the South, they were like, oh, New York was trying to play us. But that might have been like the first thing we heard from you. You know what I'm saying? But when New York heard Snoop Doggy Style and Dre the Chronic, when we heard Ghetto Boys, Your Mind's Playing Tricks on Me, we loved those songs. We didn't hate on them because it wasn't New York. We didn't. We rocked that shit. See? Okay. More stairs. All right? So you know what? When I walk back, see, because the thing is, I was trying to make a workout out of it too. And actually, when I walk back, I was going to say I'm going to walk back up the stairs, but no, I'm not. I'm going to walk up the hill because it's also a hill. So, again, Sugar Hill, so it's hilly. Great workout to just walk. And I really want to try to walk in the sun so I can get sun on my skin and get my workout on, walking up the hills. So down here we have the basketball courts and stuff. But if you see, like, New York has a huge park culture. We be outside. We have an outside culture, okay? And so this is the culture that birthed hip-hop and salsa music. Hip-hop came from the streets. Salsa music came from the streets. It came from a collaboration of people from different ethnic groups in New York City, okay? You had Jamaicans involved from the beginning, Kool Herc. You had Puerto Ricans involved from the beginning as graph artists, dancers, because, you know, people now when they talk about hip-hop, all they want to talk about is fucking rappers. You fucking forget. New York City, when we birthed hip-hop, there was a culture behind it. There was fashion behind it, which ain't nobody ever tried to dress like nobody from the West Coast. We ain't never tried to dress like nobody from the South. We ain't never tried to dress like, okay, I do not want to walk through here. Okay, let me flip the camera around. Cause I know these dudes are going to say something probably. I'm going to act like I don't hear them. But, yeah, I just don't even know. I definitely cannot walk in New York without headphones because I did not mean to walk through a whole group of men. Okay, look. But see what it is as a woman in New York, you keep your earphones on, you look straight ahead, you act like you don't hear them, and just have this. That's what people say, oh, New York girls are mean. We're not mean. It's just that when you're walking around, you got dudes talking to you all the time. Like, it's not like that in other cities. Now, down here, you can see there's like handball courts. So I walked all the way down from the top of their handball courts. We got a baseball field. Okay. And this part goes for some blocks. So it's called Jackie Robinson Park. Okay. So now we're not on Sugar Hill anymore. Sugar Hill's up there. We walk down to the bottom. Okay. So this is like West Harlem. Upper West Harlem. So anyhow, everybody, when West Coast rappers came out, when NWA came out, oh, right, they're playing Slick Rick. Somebody's playing Slick Rick in their car. Anyhow, oh, another baseball. Hold on, let's hear this music. Oh, come in. Okay. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, when we saw NWA, we thought they looked crazy because they had jerry curls. Like, jerry curls was never in style in New York. If you watch Coming to America, you saw how Eddie Murphy sung that shit. That shit was never cool. And LA and Chicago, the Midwest, be having jerry curled gangsters. And I'm not trying to offend anybody because I know they're dangerous. I know they'll kill you, but I'm just saying, like, the shit does not, that shit wasn't fly here. Okay, look, we got basketball courts. Okay, basketball court, which I'm surprised is empty because in Harlem usually you don't have empty basketball courts. Got people outside, and it goes for blocks. You see, going for blocks. So anyhow, yeah, we saw the jerry curls and the chucks that they wore. They had the caps on, they had the fitteds, but they didn't fit it. It was just flat, looking all country on top of their jerry curl. They had their shirts buttoned up to the top button. We were like, they look country as hell, okay? The thing about New York, we don't sugarcoat shit. If we think your ass is corny or whatever we're gonna say, oh, look at this rock. Hold on. Let me show you something. Okay, I don't know if you can, how well you can see this. Okay, you see this, how, I feel like the camera's not really showing the depth of it. But there's a rock back there. Like you can, I really don't think the camera's doing it any justice, but there's a big rock formation over here. So you could literally, go up there, hike this little rock mountain in the park, okay? All right? And all the New York parks are like this. They're unique like that. I love it, okay? You could just slip off the street onto a rock, go smoke a blunt, but now it's legal to smoke a blunt wherever you want, so you don't even have to do that. But anyhow, yeah, like I remember West Coast people started dressing like us. Snoop and all of them started adopting our style, right? If you see, then there were the dancers, okay? There were the graph artists. I mean, not the graph artists. I mean the dancers and the b-boys, okay? Because the b-boy, b-girls, some of them don't consider what they did dance. They consider it b-boying and b-girling. But that is something different than just hip-hop dance. Like you had Heavy D and the Boys, or, Salt and Pepper doing their thing. Like, there was hip-hop dance that was totally different than the b-boying and b-girling. In New York, and you have people like MC Hammer who dance. He's from Oakland, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying in the origins of it, dance and b-boy, b-girling, the DJing, that's another thing. DJing, the graph art. Here's another playground. I passed one playground. Here's a whole nother one. Still going, same park. Those are all the elements of hip hop. And lately, I've seen online younger people arguing about, Puerto Ricans weren't a part of hip hop from the beginning. They try to discredit Fat Joe. And I'm like, anybody who's saying that is an idiot. Because in New York City, Puerto Ricans, New Yorkers were a part of hip hop from the very beginning. Some of the illest b-boys were Puerto Ricans, like Crazy Legs. And b-boying and b-girling is like a lost art now. People don't do that in New York. You know what they do in New York? The kids dance on the subways, and they flip off the walls and off the poles, and which is equally as amazing. But New York didn't just invent rapping, okay? It was the fashion, the DJ culture, which Kool Herc being Jamaican, dancehall, Jamaican culture is very much centered around the DJ, okay? I'm not going to just say dancehall, I'm going to say like a lot of the Jamaican music forms. The DJ was really important. Okay, you can't see this because the sun's shining, but I just walked up here. Oh, it smells so much weed. It smells so good. Same park, so you got this big open area. You got this bandstand over there, band shell. There's a pool way back there. And you see, this is another staircase. I'll walk down a different staircase. But you can walk back up the staircase, okay? And you see, same park, okay? So this is what I'm saying when I say New York parks have levels to them. Like, we don't have parks that are just one level. We have parks that have levels to them. We don't have little baby trees in our parks. We have big, huge, tall, old-grown trees. We have bushes and rocks. Like, you can come in New York City Park and step into nature, okay? If a girl has to pee, you can go in here and go in the bush and pee. Whatever you want to do, okay? You can go, even I wouldn't fuck with it now because there's too many rats and raccoons, but I'm just saying. Let me see. Okay, so, yeah, we always have these walls, like stone walls or brick walls that line our parks. We don't just have so you have that level of protection and then you have this bar level of protection. So no one's going to just drive their car up in the park. When I'm in places like Chicago or something, they have parks and there's no protection. Somebody could just drive off the street right into the park and run people over, right? It's not like that here. So now these complaints that these hip hop celebrations in New York are too New York centered, it really pisses me the fuck off, because there was just a performance at Yankee Stadium, right here, right over here where I'm at. There were a lot of people. Trina was in it. She's from Miami. Lil Wayne and T.I. was in it. Snoop was there. Snoop and Ice Cube. Snoop brought Scarlett out, who's from Bronx. So there were rappers there who weren't from New York City. But the amount of legends from various cities even when you make documentaries, I've seen so many documentaries about hip hop. You know what? I think I might sit for a second and finish this video before I go into Starbucks. So I can keep talking to you guys. So what am I saying? Yeah, there's so many legends. Okay, so if you think about Chicago, Chicago has Common. You know, you got Kanye, you got Twista, you got the Brat, who a lot of people forget the Brat's from Chicago. They think she's from Atlanta, but she's from Chicago, okay? You got Lupe Fiasco and Chance the Rapper, Lil Durk, that other one, you know, G Herbo, okay? I'm not saying that all of them are legends, but those are all a bunch of Chicago rappers who, you got Detroit, you know, you got Philly, you got Eve and Freeway. Oh, the Roots. To me, the Roots are some of the best to ever do it, okay? So you got the Roots up out of Philly. You got Texas. You got New Orleans. You have not just Lil Wayne, who's one of my favorites, but you have Cash Money. I mean, sorry, yeah, Lil Wayne, but the rest of Cash Money. You have, whatchamacallit, Mystical. You have, whatchamacallit, It Ain't My Fault. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Master P. Okay? So just in little ass New Orleans, you have a lot of legends, okay? Juvie, all right? Juvenile. Juvenile just killed Tiny Desk concert, okay? If you want to talk about Atlanta, you have Ludacris, one of my favorites too, but I feel people don't talk about him a lot. Ludacris is ill with it. You have Lil Jon, you got Outkast, one of the best to ever do it as well, okay? Jermaine Dupri and everything that he was doing. I mean, there's so many legends from all over the country. And then when you talk about New York City, okay, no matter what people from Atlanta want to say, New York City has more legends than any other city. And it should be that way. We did birth it. But all this time people say, oh, New York fell off, New York fell off. But it's like, I just saw today that Cardi and Nicki Minaj tied for the female rappers to sell the most album or have the most #1 or something like that. They're both from New York. 2 different boroughs, okay? We have legends from every borough. And we have many who weren't honored. Queen Latifah's from Jersey. Oh yeah, then you got Jersey. You got Naughty by Nature. Queen Latifah, the Fugees. You know what I'm saying? From Jersey, right across the water. The Fugees was legendary. Not the Fugees, yeah, the Fugees. I meant to say Naughty by Nature was legendary. We didn't see any of them. There's not enough time to honor everybody. There's not. There's not even enough time to honor all the legends in New York. I didn't see Foxy. People have been acting like Foxy doesn't exist for years. And this took place right here in New York City. Okay? And they still didn't invite Foxy. Roxanne Shante wasn't there to my understanding. You know, you have Lost Boys. You got, and the other thing too, you got Busta Rhymes wasn't there. Jay-Z wasn't there. Jay-Z's probably too big for that. There's so many, and Young M.A to me is one of the best rappers out right now, and nobody talks about her. And even when people say, oh, female rappers only talk about sex, well, people don't say that about Missy, and Missy always talked about sex. Missy was raunchy as hell, and it's like people didn't notice that because she wasn't a sex symbol. But Missy said some nasty shit, you know what I'm saying? That's nothing new, right? But I'm just saying, like, Missy's a legend. You know, Timbaland and Magoo, you know, I mean, May Magoo rest in peace. You got Bad Boy, Uptown. I mean, we can go on, there's a lot of legends. So what the fuck is Luke complaining about? Just in New York City, they didn't honor Puffy in the whole Harlem world ever. What about Heavy D? DMX who passed away, you know what I'm saying? Pun who passed away. These are all legends. We have legends from every single borough, from Queens, from right now, Nicki Minaj is alive. She's a legend. She wasn't there. She's from New York City. Cardi wasn't there. She's from New York City, right? So whether it's new or old, there's a lot of, oh my God, these kids are loud as shit. Excuse me? Sorry. Sorry, it's okay. Anyhow, those kids were loud, but they're good kids at least. So, yes, Luke was a legend, you know. Luke was putting out the booty shaking, shake that ass girl, you know, and dancing to his songs was like a goddamn workout. And he deserves honor and respect. But there is not enough time to honor everybody who's a big deal and has contributed to hip hop. There's so many people. And that's what's so great about hip hop. And I love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I love hip hop from New York City. But I love shit from New Orleans, and I love shit from Atlanta, and I love shit from Chicago, and I love shit from Philly. You know what I'm saying? I love shit from Texas. I love talented people. You know what I'm saying? So, like, good hip hop. And, like, I feel like if people are going to complain, like, why don't people do stuff in their city? Why doesn't Luke organize something in his city and do it? And if Luke organized something in Miami, you don't have to make it all Miami. Because in New York, this shit wasn't all New York. We had a lot in New York. We birthed it. Okay? Are we wrong for that? When we're happy when hip-hop came out of, like, one of the worst times in New York City. Okay? I mean, I was born in the 80s, and I remember crack vials all over the city and crackheads. And that wasn't as bad as it was in the 70s, 10 years prior, when hip-hop was born. You know? Or, you know, it wasn't like that in the 60s when it was like, you know, the city was like just run by gangs, and hip-hop was born. There's a documentary called Rebel Kings. It used to be on Netflix. It used to be on Netflix, but they took it off of Netflix. I don't know where to find it, but it was called Rebel Kings. And it was showing how hip-hop was born out of gang culture. Like gang culture in New York that was toxic. And they realized that, because this is the thing about New York energy. Our energy is progressive. The New York state of mind is It's progressive, okay? It's hustle, especially when you're from uptown. But New York in general, we on hustle mode, you know what I'm saying? Because everything you do here, you got mad competition. You know, we're not fake with our shit. You know what I'm saying? If we say that we like something, we like it. If we don't, we fucking don't. We're not going to kiss up to you. Like when you have a city like LA where it's about who you know, you could be totally not talented, but you know this person, you're dating this person, you can get put on. New York is not about that. New York is not about all this cliquish shit. I feel like a lot of cities are like that. I feel like Chicago feels that way. The New Yorker in me is not sucking up to anybody. I'm not into that shit. New York is not about that. It's about, are you good or are you not good? Are you good or not? Period. Can you prove yourself or not? And if you think about also some of the elements of hip-hop, like there's different levels. I mean, hopefully you guys can hear me now. Let me know if you can hear me or not. Somebody called me and messed up my call. So if you guys can hear me, put a 1. If you can hear me, just put a 1 in the chat. Because I don't want to be talking if you can't hear me. So if you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat, please. Let me know you can hear me. Totally forgot what I was saying, too. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat, please. Nobody's saying anything. Can you guys hear me? Okay, thank you. Somebody finally answered. You can hear me. Perfect. Now, somebody could remind me what I was saying. Yeah, if we think you're good, whatever. We give you props. I was talking about the battles, right? Used to have freestyle battles in New York. That's one of the elements of hip-hop. I don't care about people always being able to freestyle. I don't care about people always writing their rhymes. That's not something I personally care about. But freestyling, it's just like being a dancer. It's one thing to perform choreography. It's another thing to be able to freestyle dance and battle somebody, right? So the art of the hip-hop battle came out of New York. Beatboxing. What's his face? Why am I forgetting his name now? The beatboxer from Harlem. Dougie Fresh. He's from Harlem, right? I don't remember seeing people from LA beatboxing. I don't remember seeing people from Miami beatboxing or Texas, unless something I don't know. Somebody let me know. But I remember beatboxing being in New York. And so there's many different elements. Everybody started copying how we dress. We didn't copy how none of y'all dress. People started copying how we dress, our style, right? So there was a bunch of hip-hop fashion lines in the 90s. They were all out of New York. I don't remember a fashion line, again, unless I'm wrong, I don't remember Fashion Lines that had Texas and Miami and Atlanta and New Orleans and Chicago and Detroit and LA. They were from New York. So the not only did New York birth hip hop, but our contribution to hip hop culture is wide and varied. And there's nobody who's come out who wasn't inspired or listening to somebody from New York. Now, as a traveler, I've been in the West Coast, been in the Midwest, been in the South, where people have told me they didn't listen to what we listen to. They didn't listen to Jay-Z. They didn't listen to this. They didn't listen to that. But still, give respect where it's due. Instead of people hating and saying, oh, New York is not honoring other places more and blah, 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 blah. Instead of doing all that, give thanks for the fact that we even birthed this shit at all. Because you know what? If I was about to sing Peter Gunn's Uptown Baby, Uptown Baby. Because if it wasn't for the Bronx, this rap shit probably never would be going on. So tell them where you from. Uptown baby, because down baby. Like, it's true. So a lot of people got rich up off of hip hop. So don't y'all owe us a thank you? Shouldn't you? What are you complaining about? That's some bitch ass shit. It's some bitch ass shit. There's a lot of legends in New York who weren't honored. There's legends in New Jersey who weren't honored. There's legends in Philly who weren't honored. There's legends in Virginia, okay? We want to talk about Virginia. We got the Clips. We got Missy Elliott, Timbaland, and Magoo. We got Pharrell and Neptunes. They weren't honored, and they're all fucking legends. So for Luke, like, dude, join the line. Are you fucking kidding me? There's like 100 people that deserve to be honored. There's no time for that. So why don't you help? See, New Yorkers, we get shit done. We do shit. That's why we birthed this in the first place. Because we don't just sit in our ass complaining. We create. We're progressive. We ended terrible gang shit and transformed it into hip hop. 50 years later, Chicago, LA are still so dedicated to gangs that their father was in. They're two, three generations into gangs. It's not that New York doesn't have gangs, but gang culture here is not anywhere near what it is in Chicago and LA. You don't have people in New York 2, 3 generations in a goddamn gang. You can grow up in New York and never be touched by gangs or come across that or never be a part of your world. Every black person I know in Chicago knows somebody who's in a goddamn gang. Somebody they know, or, you know what I'm saying? So, people can't get along. Blacks and Mexicans can't get along in Chicago and LA because of gang shit. We don't got that shit going on in New York. Blacks and Puerto Ricans, we get along. Blacks and Dominicans and everything else, we get along, okay? So you see this, you know, I'm in Harlem right now. So you know how diverse it is? Anybody got no beef? Okay? So anyhow, I just feel like I had to say, because I feel like New York is hated on a lot. And I feel like people love to do that, and it's just wild disrespectful to me. Because I'm like, when you come here, we actually have a very friendly energy. You know what I'm saying? New Yorkers are not mean. They say New Yorkers don't talk to people. If we didn't talk to people, we couldn't have invented hip hop. Okay? That happened from us talking and collaborating. You have a city like Miami. Miami is just as diverse as New York. A lot of Caribbeans. They got a lot of Haitians. We got a lot of Haitians. We got a lot of Puerto Ricans. They do too. They got a lot of Cubans. We don't. We got a little. We got a lot of Dominicans. They got a little. They got Colombians. We got Colombians. Like, it's a lot of... What have they created in Miami? What art form has Miami ever created? It's sunny down there, right? Oh, it's sunny every day. It's so diverse. They have not created any art form. Meanwhile, New York has created Latin jazz in the 50s, collaboration of Afro-Cuban, Afro-Puerto Rican, Afro-American musicians. New York was a jazz epicenter. We didn't create jazz, New Orleans did, but New York became an epicenter of jazz and had, you know, took it to another place. We have Latin jazz in New York. We have, which is like in the 60s with like Boogaloo. Okay? No, Latin jazz might be 60s, 70s. Boogaloo music, I like it like that. The song that Cardi B did, I like it like that. That song is called, that music is called Boogaloo. Boogaloo was a mixture of Puerto Rican soul, and Afro-American soul. So it sounded a little bit like Afro-American soul, but had like a little Puerto Rican twist to it. That's called boogaloo music, and it was around in the 60s, okay? And then in the 70s, you had salsa music. And salsa music, like hip-hop, is a mixture of things, because with hip-hop, if you have hip-hop from Atlanta, they're going to throw some trap beats in it. You got hip-hop from Houston, they might throw some screw beats in it. You got, hip-hop from different parts of the country. New Orleans, they might throw some bounce beats in it, like Lil Wayne has done, right? Salsa music is the same way. Salsa music from Colombia, they throw cumbia rhythms and Colombian rhythms in it. You listen to salsa music from Puerto Rico, they got bomba and plena rhythms in it. You listen to Afro-Cuban stuff, they got Afro-Cuban rhythms, and the Puerto Ricans also put Afro-Cuban rhythms in it. So salsa music is a mixture of things, right? So it's like a basic beat, but then it's like, there's a mixture of things, right? So it's like for New York to have salsa music and hip-hop were like really kind of out at the same time. The 70s was the height of salsa dura, which is like the best fucking salsa music. Fania All-Stars, Celia Cruz, all these legends. At the very same time that hip-hop was being born in the Bronx. And you had people spinning on their heads on the concrete with nothing. They didn't take headstand one-on-one. They didn't take yoga. They didn't take anything. That's amazing and deserves praise, okay? Like, we had nothing here, right? So right now, like, I'll see, like right now, you have kids in Chicago who are acting crazy going downtown, and the mayor's like, oh, they have nothing to do, and it's true, they don't. Like, in a lot of neighborhoods in Chicago, it's true. There's nothing to do, right? But in New York, there was nothing to do, okay, in the early 70s, and they birthed hip-hop, okay? They squashed the dumb gang shit and said we are killing each other for no fucking reason, running around here acting stupid. Watch the documentary Rebel Kings. They decided to squash it overnight. These ex-gang leaders now become breakers, become DJs, become rap artists, become MCs, and they start battling each other through hip-hop culture instead of trying to stab each other to death and shoot each other in the streets. And that's what hip-hop was birthed out of. And it was positive in New York until NWA came out with their ignorant shit. But other people have told me, no, the first gangster rapper was from Philly. But I don't remember him like that. I remember NWA and being like, what is this ignorant shit, right? That was the start of it. And there's so much for me to say about hip hop, and I want to do that on my other page because I have like a whole video I want to do about just my feelings about that. But I just had to stand up from my city because I just feel like, damn, like no matter what New York does, people just hate and complain. We didn't do enough for this. We didn't honor enough people that. First of all, y'all should be honoring us. We birthed this shit. All you could do is complain about what we're not doing and how we didn't accept you 35 years ago. We didn't accept you 40 years ago because the first song you came out with sounded like some bullshit. And because we said that, and because you wanted our approval, you worked on making your shit better until it fucking popped. And Kanye, as much as he annoys me, he was smart enough to know that. And in his documentary on Netflix, he talks about that. He came to New York humble. He was around a whole bunch of people. People were shitting on him. Kanye didn't give up. He didn't go somewhere crying, oh, they don't think I'm talented. Oh, oh, New York doesn't like me. Nah. He stayed here and worked his ass, trying to prove to people who he was. And look at what happened to Kanye. He became one of the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Like producers, I like Kanye. I don't like it as a person. He gets on my nerves. I think he's a narcissist. But as an artist, I can separate the person from the artist, right? As an artist, and an artist musically, I'm not talking about his fashion and that shit, because no. But his music, as a music artist, he's amazing to me, right? And New York played a role in that. You know what I'm saying? He's from Common, came over here to New York. He been in New York. You know what I'm saying? New York is an inspiring place. It's an inspiring place. It's inspiring. It's productive. We're creative. We're not stuck on dumb shit. Because if you look it up, a lot of people think New York is so dangerous. If you look up the 100 most dangerous cities in America, New York City is not on that list. The 100 most dangerous cities in America, out of 100 cities in the United States, New York City, which is the most populated by far, we have a 9 million people population, we weren't on the list. But if you look at like the top 10 safest cities in the world, safest major cities, New York be on the list. So it's not to say we don't have crime and things happen, but New York is nowhere near as violent as St. Louis, Detroit, Milwaukee, Birmingham, Chicago, Philly, Baltimore, New Orleans, Oakland, Miami, where the fuck, I mean, this is a violent Detroit, this is a violent country. LA, you know what I'm saying? New York is not as violent as any of that. Okay? We don't really be stuck on petty shit like that. We're not running around talking about, you don't hear New Yorkers talking about who we don't get along with in our city. When I moved to Chicago, all these warnings, oh, these people don't get along with these people, and these people don't get along with these people. And you used to not, that's not, you know what I'm saying? Like in the 90s, 80s, 90s, Brooklyn had that problem. Blacks and Jews in Brooklyn, and blacks and Italians in Brooklyn, they couldn't get along. And to be honest, Brooklyn is the rowdiest borough. Like people always talk about the Bronx, but I'm gonna tell you, I think Brooklyn, they're the ones that start the most shit. They're the ones that talk the most shit. And usually when people don't like New Yorkers, it's because of a Brooklyn person that went someplace out of town talking about, I'm from Brooklyn, son. Like always telling people that, like people give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? They say it's not where you're from, it's where you're at. Brooklyn people are the least humble, okay? And they can be the obnoxious, annoying ones and make all New Yorkers look bad. But New York is a cool city, you know what I'm saying? And people have to think. There has to be a dope energy in this city for us to have created and birthed an art form that has gone like 3 generations and shit, that's worldwide. Nothing's ever been as big as hip-hop or as influential as hip-hop, right? And we birthed that. So just give respect, because we're not, thank you. See, we're not rubbing into anybody's face, you know what I'm saying? We're not saying we're better than you. We love artists from a lot of other cities. But people just want every opportunity they want to shit on us, shit on us, shit on us. And let me tell you, too, that graffiti actually comes from Philly. I found that out. Philly actually doesn't come from New York. I mean, graffiti doesn't come from New York. It actually comes from Philly. That was actually the originator. I'm all about giving respect where respect is due. I'm all about accurate history and documentation and, the truth, right? So, yeah, I just had to get off my chest because I'm like, there's so many dope things happening in New York. It's definitely a city worth visiting. If you're somebody who travels and you've never been to New York, you should definitely come to New York. But when you come to New York, don't just go do the generic touristy shit. Like, oh, I'm going to go to Times Square. Oh my God. Hey, girlie. Hold on, I can't see you. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Happy belated. Your hair looks so pretty.
Thank you.
You look so nice.
You look nice. I was like, that gotta be her.
Yeah, it is me.
I saw her. I talk to your brother all the time.
My brother?
Yes.
You know my brother? Yeah, I didn't know you worked at, so you know who my brother is?
Yes, and I tell him to tell you hello all the time.
He never tells me that.
Wow.
I didn't know you knew my brother.
Yes.
He does go to that gym.
Yes.
Well, happy belated. It's so nice to see you. Look beautiful.
You moved back?
I didn't move back, but I'm trying to move back soon. I'm trying to move back soon.
Let me know, because I live right there.
You're okay.
I'm Barhurst 146.
Okay, I'm gonna let you know.
Let me know.
I will. You look so nice. Hair looks cute. Did you dye it?
Yes, I did.
So this is all your hair?
Yes.
This is beautiful. You look great.
Thank you. You look great too. All I saw was the legs, and here I was like,
I know my legs.
looks good. Call me, let me know.
I will let you know. See you later, girl. Okay, sorry about that. Me and her had the same birthday. Another lioness. So the thing that I was saying, I had to put my glasses on because my eyes couldn't see. I was trying to walk and get sunlight in my eyes and on my skin because it's good for my health, right? I'll do a video about that again some other day this week. But yeah, New York is dope energy. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this video. But if you do come to New York, you definitely don't want to go to, I'm gonna go to Times Square, I'm gonna go to where the World Trade Center is and all that dumb shit. That's not, nobody from New York cares about that. That's touristy shit. If you do that, you won't like New York, okay? If you come to New York, come uptown, which is in Manhattan. Harlem is in Manhattan. Come up to Harlem, come up to Washington Heights, West Harlem. Not just 125th Street. People come to Harlem, they go to 125th and that's it. 125th, that's where the Apollo was. It's cool, but there's a lot of different areas in Harlem. There's Washington Heights, which is unique, and Inwood. You got the Bronx. You got Brooklyn. There's a lot of cool parts of Brooklyn to go to. Okay, Brooklyn's a huge borough. And there's a lot of cool parts of Brooklyn that's popping, okay? You could come in New York. You don't need a car in New York, but you could get on the train or drive to like 8 different neighborhoods in an hour that's all popping, right? So there's a lot of things to see. If you're coming to New York and you want some advice on if you're coming to New York and you want some advice on where you should go and stuff like that, just let me know. I actually would love to do tours. I was trying to do like some Airbnb experiences. So I could take people on certain tours in New York, but they won't allow that. They kind of cancel. I don't know, but I definitely will give advice. But and you see there are, there's white people in Harlem, but Harlem is still mostly black. There's a lot of Asians. There's a lot of Africans, but Harlem is still mostly black though. It's just that when I was growing up, you didn't see any. But I'm in this video. I think you got my point. I just feel like, hip hop, we birthed it, but it wasn't just rapping. People now just want to keep talking about rappers. There's fashion, there's dancing. And even with the dances, we're not the only ones that contributed to that. I mean, you have different styles of dances from different parts of the country, like the way that MC Hammer danced. MC Hammer in his Hammer pants. He's from Oakland. They ain't talk about him. He's another legend. Heavy D's a legend. I mean, there's so many legends, dead and alive, and that's the amazing thing about hip hop. They could have done like a fucking month-long series of performances every day to get everybody. So I wish people would stop bitching and complaining and just wanting to hate on New York and just wanting to be mad and talk about what we didn't do and blah, 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 and give thanks. Give motherfucking thanks. So many people then got rich and came up in life because of hip-hop. So let's be grateful and humble. That's all I want to say. So I'm in this video because I'm standing in a busy street and everybody's staring at me. And I'm going to keep it moving. But if you learned something from this video, if you liked it, please like it, please share it. I'm on my IG. I'm going to save this and repost it to my YouTube, Makeda Blair Travels. And have a good day, people. Definitely come to New York, experience it for yourself. You'll see people are not walking around with attitudes and walking around mean. It's totally not the case. We're cool-ass people. We get along. There's an energy in the city that's just dope. And that's where hip-hop came from. Okay, out of our progressive, a New York state of mind is a progressive state of mind. It's artistic. It's real. Okay, progressive mind state, hustle mind state, about that money more so than the petty shit. Understanding that whatever you do, there's like 1,000 other people, 2,000-3,000 other people that do what you do too. So how good are you? And how can you set yourself apart? And how can you be different? And can you do it when people ask you to, you know what I'm saying? New York City was the showbiz capital. So you had the modeling industry when there used to be models. That shit was all in New York. All the modeling agencies, all the fashion designers, Fashion Week. There's no Fashion Week. Nobody cares about Fashion Week LA. Nobody cares about Miami Fashion Week. People care about New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, Milan, London, Tokyo. Okay? They don't care about Fashion Week in Detroit. They don't care about Fashion Week. No, it's New York. This was the fashion capital, right? And this was the modeling capital. You have Broadway, theater capital, right? Music capital. So dance, music, theater. Now Hollywood had Hollywood. Hollywood, you don't have to be as talented because you're recording, you're taking several different takes. But when you're doing live stuff on Broadway, you can't mess up. You really got to be a good actor to do live stuff. To do Hollywood, you don't, because they can do it over and over and over again and edit stuff, and you know what I'm saying? So in order to be a great live performer, people are going to be cutthroat, straight up, let you know what it is, not going to sugarcoat shit. Unlike California, we don't have this hippy dippy culture where we tell everybody, everybody's great and it's all love. No, you ain't great. You're off fucking tune. That shit sucks. Boo, go away. And if you come back and make a shit better, that's where stars are born. That's how stars are born. That's how people, they say if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. That's where it's coming from, okay? So I'm going to be done with it. I need to stop because everybody's staring at me in the sidewalk and I don't want to be stared at. And this, oh God, let me try to, I want to try to, this is the most awkward thing at the moment. Very strange. Woo, shit. I had to walk away because this man just stopped and was like staring at me like he was waiting for me to get off the phone so he could talk to me. But it was just like, the thing about New York, we don't stare at people and I don't like that. It's like, I could feel his energy staring at me and it's like, dude, anyhow, let me get off the sidewalk because everybody's just staring at me too much. But I think you guys got the point. I had to speak my piece for my city and for hip hop, which I love so much. But have a good day, people. If you learned something, if you liked the video, please like it, please share it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later, okay? Bye.